company called Morgan McKinley for the last 11 years. The last 5 of those have been advising international companies that are setting up in Ireland on their talent strategy. And what that actually means is where they'll find the skills they're looking for, what it's going to cost by way of salaries, what benefits they need to have, and overall what employer brand and employer value proposition they need to have in place to attract and retain the talent they need to grow their business here in Ireland. Just by way of very brief, Morgan McKinley, we're an Irish-owned global professional recruitment consultancy. We've 18 offices in 10 countries, employing 880 people, and we cover all the main areas of professional recruitment. We've advised more than 500 companies and startups, so what I'm going to talk to you about is based on that experience that we've had and what companies are saying to us they're doing that's working and maybe what they're doing that's not working. So just very briefly, I'm going to start with what's happening in the world of work today. I would go so far as to say it's chaos, and this is just to provide a background and a backdrop into why we are experiencing the challenges and that organisations are having to retain talent, and why as employees are so valuable out there right now. So we talk about the economic recovery. So we have Brexit, so the economic recovery is driving the employment growth that's happening in the market today. The refugee crisis, the Greek financial crisis, yet in spite of all of that, Ireland's GDP has grown by 7.8% last year. It's forecast to grow by 5% this year. I'm not an economist, but if I were to lay that beside China, global powerhouse, which has projected 6.9% last year versus 4.5% this year, we're outperforming global big leaders, economic countries. Back the employment dynamic, so record jobs creation. So this is obviously putting a pressure in the talent market in a good way. We're attracting new talent into the market. What we're seeing, if we take the technology space, 30% of talent that we're placing within organisations right now have come from overseas. So we're bringing in new talent into the country. Combine that 40,000 new jobs that requires talent for this year. Rainer Stack, I don't know how many of you heard of him. He's a senior partner and managing partner with the Boston Consulting Group, but he talks on a TED Talk, it's interesting, worth watching, about the global skills crisis. He's talking about the fact that Generation X are retiring, that technology and automation that's coming with it are requiring new skills, and that the legacy skills that exist in the marketplace are no longer relevant. So we're having to move with that. And also the unemployment rate. So bearing in mind with all these new companies coming in looking for talent, we have an economic recovery that's happening that's encouraging further growth, and then we have an unemployment rate that's declining. So we have a reduced labour pool. And if that needs further emphasis, these are a list of companies that have set up in the last 6 to 8 months in Ireland that are attracting many of them in excess of 100, 200 employees in the professional space. Then we have the speed of change. So for the first time, we have 5 generations working in the workplace. We've yet to see the impact that Gen Z is going to have, but we have traditionalists, we have Generation X, we have baby boomers, Gen Y, and the dynamic of having 5 different generations in the workplace is going to have a big impact on the tenure and length of tenure that people are going to have, and the reasons why people stay within organisations. Then we have all the other elements that are happening, so robotics, automation, artificial intelligence. As I mentioned to you, we're a global organisation. We are seeing firsthand in UK and London within the financial services space, there are hundreds of people being made redundant from jobs that have been automated and their skills are no longer relevant for. So reskilling, retraining is becoming very, very important. The attrition versus retention. Obviously, if there's any HR people in the room, this is more of a shout out to you guys. But really, where we're talking about the gap between attrition and retention is what we call regrettable leavers, those people you don't wish to leave your organisation. As somebody who's making a case for building a retention strategy within an organisation, the best place to start is to look at what is the cost of that attrition. And by that, you're looking at the cost of regrettable leavers. So there is actually, if anyone wants to talk to me afterwards, there's a couple of models online that are pretty effective as a starting base point to go to your board, to go to your leadership group, to speak to them about this is what the cost of attrition is by way of recruitment costs, training costs, sales costs, loss of potential business from losing staff from your best. So again, understanding those and the demographic change within the organisation. We're in an era which is very, very different. When I look back on traditionalists and even Generation X, the average tenure within a job, there was a job for life, then there was a job for 8 to 10 years. Generation Y are looking at now, the average tenure of jobs is length of time in a job is 2 years. So it's declining all the time. And do we know the talent we want to retain? I'll come to that in a moment. So why are employees leaving their jobs? So we've done multiple engagement surveys with our candidates that we engage with on a daily basis, and these are the reasons why they're telling us they're leaving. Last year we placed 30,000 professionals into jobs in the Irish market, and these are the reasons, top 10 reasons of why they're saying that they're leaving. So better career progression. So learning and development, again, if we look at the HR positions that are most in demand, the growth of demand for learning and development professionals is significant, and it's because organisations, if they don't have this function in their business, they're growing this area. If we were to sectorise the talent pools, because no one size fits all, we would say that in the technology space, the reason why they're leaving is for cutting edge technologies. I get asked by multinational companies that are coming in to set up in Ireland, how do we compete with the Google, how do we compete with the Facebook for talent? The reality is that very small, agile players that are coming into the market that have cutting edge technology are attracting developers to come join them because they're doing exciting work, exciting project. Fair pay and attractive benefits. It's not the number one reason. In some areas, maybe finance professionals, in multilingual professionals where there's lower paid salaries, the difference salary can make and pay can be a factor. But overall, fair pay is what people are looking for. What is the market average? And as long as they're being paid within that, that's important for them. The opportunity to collaborate, the age-old adage where you say that people don't leave jobs, they leave their bosses, but again, the investment in people development and people management. And the millennial tell us that they don't want managers, they want mentors. And there's a lot more companies that are bringing in mentors and coaches into organisations to actually engage with their talent and retain them in the longer term. I don't think this is specific to any one generation. I think every one of us want to be recognised, valued and respected, but I think it's becoming more a part of exit interviews as a reason why they're going somewhere where they feel they will be more valued, more respected, their input and their voice will be heard greater. Making an impact. I will talk about the importance of this, but really it's up there in the top 3 things at the moment. So what we're seeing is talent who are joining organisations, they're asking about their corporate social responsibility programs. If you're a business that doesn't have one of these in place, you should absolutely look at it. We had a case of a global international company who would be a brand name and what they do and what their products are, but they were unable to attract the talent they needed for their business. And one of the reasons why employees were telling us was because they had a CSR strategy, but it was global. It wasn't local, it wasn't relevant to them. They didn't feel they were contributing to the impact the business is looking to make. Belief and pride in the company's mission, values and product services. All of the companies that are coming in right now, I am talking to them about telling their story, and their story starts with the founders of the business, why they started the business, why they're still engaged with the business. They need to have a belief in what the business is doing and where it's going. And a great work culture, and this is something that every business strives to create, and some do it better than others, but it needs to be compatible with the individual needs of the person. So I suppose, again, if you're a HR professional here or a business leader, how many of these does your employer value proposition speak to? A lot of companies are doing these things very well, but they don't speak to them when they're going out to attract talent, and certainly not building on it when they're retaining talent within the organisation. So coming to the part you're looking for, tips to improve your talent retention. The first one, auditing your criteria and tools for talent attraction. So attracting the talent that you're looking for. Glassdoor has become the TripAdvisor for employers right now. So if you are not on Glassdoor and you're an employer, you should be, to understand what your employees are saying to you, to improve the star rating that you have. We have one employer at the moment with a star rating of 1.9 out of 5. They're really struggling. It's proving to be a big barrier because all of the things, the comments that are being said, it's true within their organisation, but they're not adapting to them. So I think if you have a voice on there and you're able to look at it, understanding and communicating effectively with your employees. So again, knowing your generation mix, identifying the critical skills and wrapping your arms around them. Stay interviews instead of exit interviews, really important. These are much more engaging for employees to give them a voice as to what would make them leave the organisation. What do you need to work on? What do you need to improve on within your organisation to avoid having to have that exit interview eventually. Be generation driven, but it's certainly something that businesses need to look at, the relationship that they have with their employees, almost like as a relationship with an individual, asking how they're feeling as much as what they're doing, and it's important. Flexible approach, so including working schedules. Not everybody wants remote working. What we have found is communities that migrate here from overseas and that are working within organisations. They get their energy, they get their social scene from the people that they work with, so they may not want that. But the flexible working schedules, if you're a working mother, that you're able to start later and drop your kids to school, or if companies are able to offer that, we would promote it as well. I should say as well, in the flexible benefits piece, we surveyed employees, everybody under the age of 35 said health insurance was the #1 paid benefit that they were looking for. Over 35 it was pensions. So again, the flexible benefits actually allows you to tailor your benefits according to the type of talent that you're looking to attract, and helping them to make an impact. It comes back to the corporate social responsibility program, a meaningful corporate, and involving them in the organisation. So speaking to them, allowing them to speak to you and provide their input to your change. And continuous learning and development, can't emphasise this enough. So gone are the days where a degree and a master's and pre-entry qualifications was enough. Companies need to be offering on-the-job continuous learning to make them continually relevant. We've spoke to previously about the speed of which change is happening, but the onus is on employers and employees to ensure that their skill set is still relevant and continues to be relevant. This is just something that some of our employers use, and if you're an employee within an organisation, you change the days to the yous if you are an employer. This is just an audit checklist to kind of say, are you meeting all of these 12 areas? If one of these are not being met, your employer, as an employee or as an employer, they're flight risk for the business. But you will actually notice the language of it is do they have a best friend at work? Do they have a forum to give their opinions? It's much more about the feeling, about the input, about the value that people are being afforded within an organisation. If you're answering positively in all of these, then great, you've got an engaged workforce that you don't need to worry about retention. I do want to just show this very brief video. It explains better than I can the speed at which change is happening, the impact it's happening, and just really where the landscape is going. Bear with me.
I wanna feel the sun, have barbecues. I wanna see my friends, the old and new. We'll turn on the game and share some laughs, and we'll play this and that. And I'll say goodbye to rainy days, to the colder nights and the empty trees. Now for life and colors new, and it's all here for you. To sit by the sky, summer days, feels just like it's somewhere. Kids are out, safe to play, and it feels just like a beautiful day. By the sky, summer days, feels just like it's somewhere. Kids are out, safe to say, and it feels just like a beautiful day. A beautiful day, a beautiful day. Beautiful day, beautiful day. La da 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 da. I wanna feel the grass between my toes. I wanna hear the birds as they come and go. And I'd love to fly if I had wings, and I'd bring you with me. I wanna hit the beach, the ocean air, and we'll let the sand get everywhere. We'll watch the sun as it melts away, and I smile just the same. With you out the sky, summer days, feels just like it's somewhere. Kids are out, safe to play, and it feels just like a beautiful day. Out the sky, summer days, feels just like it's somewhere. Kids are out, safe to say that it feels just like a beautiful day. A beautiful day, beautiful day, beautiful day, beautiful day. La da da da.
quickly as a recap, is retaining talent the only answer? Raynor Stack also said the workforce planning is going to become more important than financial planning. This is because the dynamic and makeup of a workforce is going to change. We're going to have people who are freelancing more, who are what we call gig economy, and where people are going to be contracting more flexible work, working where they want, for who they want, with who they want. Embracing the advancements of technologies, as I said, the virtual worker, where the results only work environment, people will be paid for the work that they do only, and changing attitudes. So I think for employers it's important to look at employees as resources and assets, not costs and headcount. And I think just one final thing, we didn't know a year ago that or 5 years ago, that we would be able to land in a private plane, halo a taxi, and stay in somebody's house for the night. But the reality is Uber and Airbnb are changing the way that we live, and we have to be adaptable to the change, and that's never been more important than in the retention of talent right now. Thank you.